Thank you everyone for joining us today and taking time out of your busy schedules to learn more about OSED's long duration energy storage program and our new project selections. My name is Marcella Mulholland. I lead stakeholder engagement for the Office of Clean Energy Demonstrations Long Duration Energy Storage Program. Please note that this webinar is being recorded. To turn on live captions, please click on Show Captions in your control panel. On behalf of the Department of Energy and OSED, I want to welcome you to our national briefing on the long duration energy storage demonstration projects selected by DOE for award negotiation last week. I am so pleased to be speaking with you today about these projects, which represent a strong cohort of the best LDES demonstration project designs and plans out there. To provide more detail, the Office of Clean Energy Demonstrations, OSED, at DOE recently announced the selection of 9 LDES demonstration projects located in diverse geographic locations across the country. We at OSED want to share information regarding these new projects and help clarify our process and what to expect next from this program. While we will not be taking questions today, we do invite you to engage with DOE and the commercial partners involved in these long duration energy storage projects and share your perspectives and feedback. An email you can contact will be provided at the end of the presentation. We also will be hosting regional briefings with project selectees to go into a bit more detail on the projects. You can visit our website or email the emails at the end of the presentation to register and get more information. So just to kick off with some introductions here, with me today, I have my colleague Juan Alvarez, the LDES Program Manager for the Project Management Division of OSED. Juan and his team are critical partners to ensure these projects move forward in negotiations and potentially to award. To clarify where we are at in the process, DOE has not awarded any funds yet. We have only selected projects to move forward with award negotiation. I will pass it over to Juan soon to go over the LDES program and the projects we've selected for award negotiation. But first, I want to give an overview of the agenda. We will first provide a high-level overview of OSED and the Long Duration Energy Storage Program. We will then provide information about each of the projects that have been selected for award negotiation. Next, we will discuss community benefits and their importance throughout the lifetime of these projects. And finally, we will end with discussing next steps and resources for more information. Before we get started with Juan's section, I would like to give a bit of some high-level information about OSED and our role within the Department of Energy. So OSED is a new office at DOE that was created about a year and a half ago when Congress created this office in the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law and then provided additional funds in the Inflation Reduction Act. They provided this funding and created OSED to help fund clean energy demonstration projects, including long duration energy storage projects like the ones we will be talking about today. In general, OSED funds up to 50% of the costs for a given project in order to deliver clean energy technology demonstration projects at scale in partnership with the private sector to accelerate deployment, market adoption, and the equitable transition to a decarbonized energy system. Notice the emphasis in our mission on partnership with the private sector. This, of course, refers to the financial sharing obligation between our office and awardees, but it also represents our ongoing engagement with external stakeholders, such as trade associations, utilities, NGOs, and other market facilitators to ground truth to these demonstrations. Are they sustainable? Are they delivering a true need in the market? Are they benefiting their neighbors? These understandings will be critically important to accomplishing the other parts of our mission, which are to accelerate deployment, market adoption, and an equitable transition to our decarbonized energy system sooner rather than later. This is where we rely heavily on the insights from the folks listening in today. On the next slide, there's more information on OSED's mandate. So to put our mission into context, let me share a bit about this mandate. OSED's goal is to become a center of excellence for clean energy demonstration projects and project management oversight. We recognize the complexity of delivering demonstrations at scale, and we are putting into place procedures that account for lessons learned and best practices in this space. Follow-on investment is the true end goal. Though our funding sounds like a lot, and we take very seriously the importance of stewarding these funds, we also recognize that meeting the scale of the climate challenge requires unlocking follow-on investment from the private sector and other sources of capital. Next, we focus on meeting our carbon reduction goals in an equitable way that centers community benefits. For the first time ever, OSED is part of a new frontier of offices within the department that requires all applicants for funding opportunities to include community benefit plans in their proposal. We're committed to strong two-way communications with community stakeholders to better understand their perspectives and collect insights that will inform how we meet our mission. On the next slide, there's more information on our broad scope. This slide captures the OSED portfolio at a high level. We are a multi-technology office investing more than $25 billion into programs central to achieving our clean energy future. In addition to the long-duration energy storage program that we are discussing with you today, our portfolio includes programs across the energy value chain, including regional clean hydrogen hubs, industrial demonstrations, direct air capture hubs, and projects in rural and remote areas, and even more than just that list. The next slide kicks off the Eldes Overview section, and I will pass it to my colleague Juan to discuss the Eldes program in more detail.
Great. Thank you, Marcella. I'm Juan Alvarez, Eldes Program Manager on the OSED Program Management team. In the next few slides, I'll be describing the purpose and importance of Eldes, the different types of technologies, and the Eldes Demonstrations Program. So why Eldes? Cheaper, longer energy storage can support the expansion of renewables like solar and wind by providing stability, flexibility, and optionality to the grid. It will also reduce the need for new fossil fuel capacity by firming renewables. It will enhance resiliency of this grid at critical facilities such as hospitals and affordable housing sites during extreme weather and other disruptive events. And finally, energy storage will diversify the domestic energy storage supply chain. Next slide. So an overview here. As we move towards a cleaner, more decentralized grid with increased supply of renewables, the need for longer duration storage is critically important. LDES, for long duration energy storage, which we can discuss in more detail in the next few slides, includes several technologies that store energy over long periods of time for future dispatch. Based on DOE's global energy storage database, only 2% of active projects have a duration of over 10 hours. Thus, the 9 new demonstration projects, along with 6 lab call projects selected for award negotiation, are a critically important contribution to increased availability and market viability of LDES and facilitate the deployment of clean, reliable energy across the nation. The 9 projects will support communities. They will build energy resilience and increase local control of the power system to minimize power grid disruptions. And they include collaborations among communities and businesses, tribal nations, utility providers, hospitals, clean tech entrepreneurs, labor unions, and retirement communities. Next slide, please. So long duration energy storage. So as most of you know, energy storage is the capture of energy produced at one time for use later to reduce imbalances between energy demand and energy production. LDES is defined by DOE as energy storage systems capable of delivering electricity over 10 hours. The goal of OSED's LDES demonstrations program is to fund projects that will overcome the technical and institutional barriers of LDES that exist for deployment, with a focus on a range of different technology types for a diverse set of regions. In November of 2022, the DOE announced a $349 million funding opportunity announcement, or FOA. And last week on September 22nd, OSED announced 9 projects selected for award negotiations. These projects will have over 20 site locations spread across the country. Award negotiations can take up to 1 year to finalize and offers an opportunity for community input. Award negotiations are not a commitment by DOE to issue an award or provide funding. DOE and each selectee will negotiate a cooperative agreement, and this is a contract that gives DOE substantial involvement throughout the project. Next slide, please. So before walking through the projects, I'd like to step back and provide a brief overview of LDES. There are 3 main types of technology, LDES technology, funded through the LDES demonstrations program: mechanical, thermal, and electrochemical. Mechanical energy storage is the storage of energy by applying force to an appropriate medium to deliver acceleration, compression, or displacement. One of the selected projects uses a form of mechanical energy storage called compressed air energy storage. This stores electric energy in the form of potential energy or compressed air and can be deployed near central power plants or distribution centers. Thermal energy is the storage of energy by heating or cooling a medium to use the energy when needed later. One selected project uses a form of thermal energy called sensible heat storage. This turns grid electricity into heat using large-scale heat pumps. Heat is stored and used to generate power when needed. Electrochemical energy, which mostly consists of different types of batteries, stores energy in cells that are electrically connected to each other. 2 different types of batteries have been included in the selections: flow batteries and non-flow batteries. Flow batteries use liquid positive and negative electrode materials stored in tanks. Fluids flow past a reaction site to produce power. Non-flow batteries are similar to your car, phone, or rechargeable AA batteries. Next slide, please. This map shows the 9 projects DOE selected across the US. These projects have 20 corresponding locations, with many having multiple project sites. OSED is pleased with the geographic diversity of these locations and looks forward to supporting teams to inform how local geographies impact the feasibility of LDES technologies. Next slide. So this slide shows the timeline for how the selected LDES projects move through the milestones. Currently, with selections and award negotiations, we are technically in the application phase, where you see the star. When an award is made, the project will enter phase 1. The diamonds signify the go, no-go decision gates. At each of these gates, DOE assesses the project's ability to meet project management, technical, permitting, and community engagement milestones. If DOE determines the project compliant with its standards, the department provides funding to the project for 1 phase at a time. The phased approach helps reduce financial risks and helps ensure the project's compliance with DOE standards. So now I'll discuss the highlights of the selected projects. All right, so this first project is called Communities Accessing Resilient Energy Storage, or CARES. The prime is regional. The locations for this project include Red Lake Nation in Minnesota, New Mexico, and California. The LDES technology is second life EV batteries, and this project makes use of retired batteries from electric vehicles. It will provide demand reduction, load shifting, and resilience at 2 affordable housing complexes and a Red Lake Nation tribal workforce development campus. Finally, it will engage with a nonprofit to build career pathways in clean energy technology for youth, women, and individuals. Next slide, please. Next project is called Second Life Smart Systems, or SMART. The prime is Smartville, Inc., and the locations for this project include Georgia, California, and South Carolina. The LDES technology is also Second Life EV batteries. Highlights are as follows. Along with the first project, this project is one of the first to use existing life batteries, reducing the need to mine new minerals and reducing associated carbon emissions of producing new batteries. It will serve critical facilities, including affordable housing complexes and senior centers. The project aims to install more than 7 megawatt hours of lithium-ion battery systems to provide grid resiliency, lower future energy costs, and backup power. Historically Black colleges and universities will support career training at key sites through Denmark Technical College in Denmark, South Carolina, and Dillard University in New Orleans, Louisiana. Next slide, please. The next project is called Stored Rechargeable Energy Demonstration, or STORED. The prime is Urban Electric Power, and the sites for this project include 2 locations in New York State. The LDES technology is zinc manganese dioxide batteries. The project employs batteries that utilize earth-abundant raw materials that are readily available through supply chains. It is expected to increase resilience, decrease installation costs, and firm solar generation, with batteries expected to provide up to 24 hours of continuous power. Projects will be located at 2 sites in New York that are supported by the New York Power Authority, a publicly owned utility, and separate community advisory committees. Next slide, please. This project is called Rural Energy Viability for Integrated Vital Energy, or REVIVE. The prime is National Renewables Cooperative Organization, NRCO. Locations for this project include Iowa, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Maryland. This project team will develop a rural behind-the-meter LDES cooperative network comprised of vanadium redox flow batteries with discharge capabilities of up to 20 hours. The batteries will be located at 3 to 5 sites across the Midwest, Southeast, and Mid-Atlantic regions of the US. The project aims to deliver high-benefit, low-risk energy solutions to vulnerable and disadvantaged rural areas with associated workforce training. Next slide, please. So this project is called Children's Hospital Resilient Grid with Energy Storage, or CHARGES. And so the prime is California Energy Commission, and there is only 1 project site, which is in California. The LDES technology is zinc bromide flow batteries, which provide backup power to a children's hospital that is increasingly at risk of power outages and that serves a community with a 30% childhood poverty rate. The project is expected to produce a roadmap for the replacement of diesel generators with cleaner, more cost-effective resources at a hospital facility. The project is a collaboration between the California Energy Commission, labor unions, and local community and industry partners. Next slide, please. So this project is called Front of the Meter Utilization of Zinc Bromide Energy Storage, or FUSES. And the prime is Next Era Energy Resources, and the project locations are in Oregon and Wisconsin. The project aims to demonstrate a 10-hour duration zinc bromide battery that is non-flammable, low cost, and uses domestically available components. Expected project impacts include increased renewable capacity at a grid interconnection and reduced curtailment of renewables. Partnerships will be tribal historic preservation offices to support both tribal energy development and career opportunities through partnerships with community colleges. Next slide. This project is called Columbia Energy Storage Project, and the prime is Wisconsin Power and Light Company. There's only 1 project location, which is in Wisconsin, and the project will demonstrate compressed CO2 energy storage at commercial scale. Outputs will include a roadmap to inform deployment of compressed air energy storage nationwide. The project team will be collaborating with state and local governments, labor unions, and surrounding tribal nations via the Midwest Tribal Resources Association to ensure the engagement of energy-burdened communities. Next slide, please. So this project is called Pumped Thermal Energy Storage in Alaska Rail Belt, or POLAR. The prime is Westinghouse Electric Corporation, and the project will be located in Alaska. It aims to demonstrate high temperature thermal storage in cold climates through an integrated heat battery with turbo machinery to store energy at large scale. It will be located at a coal facility slated for retirement, and the project will provide local jobs and bolster regional grid resiliency. Project partnerships will benefit Alaskan natives through collaborations with the Arctic Slope Regional Corporation, communities, and schools. Next slide. So last but not least, we've got a project called Multi-Day Iron Air Demonstration, or MIND. The prime is Northern States Power Company, and the project will demonstrate multi-day iron air batteries that utilize safe, inexpensive, and abundant materials like water and iron. It aims to provide energy storage through 10 megawatt, 100-hour long LDES systems at retiring coal plants in Minnesota and Colorado, accelerating the commercialization of multi-day storage. Project partners will collaborate on workforce pipelines for retraining and job creation. So with that, this concludes the overview of each of the projects. The information provided today can be found on OSED's website under the LDES webpage. With that, I'll pass it back to my colleague, Marcella.
Thank you, Juan. Now I'll explain a bit about community benefit plans, which are a key component of our long-duration energy storage demonstration projects. OSED, like I said earlier, is part of a new frontier of offices at DOE that requires all applicants to our funding opportunities to include community benefit plans in their applications. But if we could go to the next slide. As I mentioned before, part of our mission is to accelerate the equitable energy transition to a decarbonized energy system. This means that equity and justice must be a central focus of the projects we fund as part of the energy transition. OSED requires all of our projects to incorporate plans for community and labor engagement, which are meant to emphasize projects being accountable to impacted communities and workers, quality jobs and workforce development, so providing fair compensation and workforce development in the communities that are hosting these projects, as well as diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility in the awardees organization. And lastly, the Justice 40 initiative, which was established by an executive order in January 2021 and sets a goal of 40% of the overall benefits of certain federal investments to flow to disadvantaged communities. All of OSED's programs are covered under the Justice 40 initiative. I also just want to make a note that this refers to 40% of the benefits of this funding, not 40% of the funding itself, to flow to disadvantaged communities across of our portfolio, not 40% of each project. Next slide. This slide shows a schematic of the steps projects go through in OSED and how the CBP component is incorporated into each of these steps. Similar to the other components of the project, such as technical or financial components, the quality of these plans impact a project selection. CBPs account for 20% of the overall project score. The plans are assessed by a merit review panel of experts. As projects progress and lessons are learned and community input is received, CBPs are updated to accommodate new information and are continuously evaluated and updated. Between each phase is a go, no-go decision where the department determines whether a project should continue on to the next phase and receive additional funding. These decisions include consideration of CBP implementation along with other milestones and factors. The next steps and resources on the following slide get at what happens next. So as we mentioned previously, we are currently in the negotiations phase of the long duration energy storage projects announced last week. And while these projects have not been selected for award, the OSED team will continue the negotiations process with the selectees, where we are discussing how to take these projects into a more robust project phase from a technical, financial, and community engagement standpoint. In October, OSED will hold 3 regional briefings in the East, West, and Midwest to share information with local communities located near project sites and begin engagement between OSED, the selectee, and community members. To register for these briefings, you can see our website or email us at the link we will share momentarily. If a project makes it to award, OSED will share a summary of the community benefits plan on our website. After award, selectees enter into a cooperative agreement with DOE, OSED, and Phase 1 detailed project plan begins and may last up to a year and a half. OSED will work with selectees to comply with the National Environmental Policy Act where relevant. And I've been referencing the contact information that you can use. This next slide shows it. I want to make sure you all know how to sign up to receive OSED news and updates. This is the best resource to stay in the know about OSED, and we highly recommend subscribing to stay in touch. Additionally, if you have any questions about the long duration energy storage demonstration programs or the specific projects in your region, please email osed_eldes@hq.doe.gov. The next slide provides additional resources. To find out more about this program and related initiatives, please visit the OSED website. My colleague will drop the links shown here in the chat. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you all taking the time out of your week to hear about the LDES program and the selected projects. Please do not hesitate to reach out with questions. Thank you.